Bloods next. You essays, now you with the Aryans, you over here with GDs, now you got some advice, Lord, you spend some time with those who lead alternative lifestyles, and you know, what, I just want to serve. I don't care who it is, or what it is you've done, or where you come from, or what you like, or what you don't like. At the end of the day, I just want you to get what God has for you. And you work out your own issues. Your issue ain't my concern, it ain't my issue. You work that out. And if I can help you, I'm going to come to you in love. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to condemn you. I'm not going to cast you out. I'm not going to put you on blast. I'm not going to put you on Front Street. I'm going to sit back and cover. It says, blessed is the man who covers the transgression. I get a blessing by covering you. So if you come to me in confidence and say, this is what's going on, and we cover it, he said there's a blessing that's assigned to that. Just serve. Just serve. And serving doesn't mean also that you always got to have something to say. You ain't always got to have something to say, church. You're serving. I think it was St. Francis of Assisi said, do as much preaching as you can, when possible, use words, and when necessary, use words. Do as much preaching as you can, and when necessary, use words. We've been conditioned in this Western world to believe that preaching is this, what I'm doing. You proclaim and just being. That's all preaching is proclaiming. You proclaim who he is just by you being. You show up and you walk in a room, you smile, you proclaim the goodness of God. I was in a meeting with a brother from the church yesterday. We were at Rupert's Bagel, sitting there talking. And this guy came to me and said, hey, you're such and such from the ministry with this person and that. And I just smiled and said, no, I don't think I know him, but I am in ministry. And he kept saying, no, you're the photographer. I said, sir, that's not me. But something about me suggested to him that I was associated with the king. And I was approachable. See, this is the thing. If you want, your testimony is much about getting up here and talk about it, but your testimony is also about you just being. Are you approachable? I know you've been hurt. I know people have wronged you. I know your lifestyle and your history has been tragic and traumatic. But do you have the kind of disposition and demeanor that says, you know what, somebody can come up to you and ask you, sister, do you know what time it is? Are you approachable? Because that's what it was about. Jesus was approachable. By any and everybody. You got to know that he was an approachable man. Here it is, God manifest in the flesh, and knowing a woman who was caught in adultery, or knowing, a man whose hand was withered, or knowing, somebody else who has a condition or an ailment, to be able to approach him, to be able to break bread with the publicans and the sinners, with the tax collectors, with the gangsters and everybody else. He was approachable by everybody. So you can come talk to him. Zacchaeus came and talked to him. Nicodemus came. It didn't matter what time of the day it was. If somebody calls you at 2, 3 in the morning and just needs a word, are you approachable? And you say, no, I am asleep, but I can give you a couple minutes. I got a big day ahead. I said, what you calling me this late at night for? Why are you the husband? Who is that? Who are they calling in? You need to tell sister so-and-so she need to get a man. She called me to talk about her man. Who's her man? Jesus her man. I don't know him. Who is Jesus? Brother, calm down, man. People, remain approachable. People crazy. I'm telling you, it's crazy. I did it to my wife. Who is that? I'm just back. So I guess it's Trisha. Trisha, who? Trisha, 3 in the morning. What you call it here for? But it's being approachable. So if I could leave you with one thought, it would simply be, if you're going to stand at Liberty Church, if you're going to allow God to use you, if you're now going to position yourself to say, you know what, God, I know that there's more for me. And I know there's still some areas of our lives that there's, these doors seem to appear to be locked. Everything is made beautiful in this time. Some people get just totally delivered and set free off the jump. But like faith and like freedom, deliverance is a process. There are some things God delivered me from like that. I mean, I went cussing and doing all this literally the day before, probably the morning of. Got saved Saturday morning, June 8, 2002 at 10:26 a.m. I know I at least said the N-word and a couple other things an hour before I came to church. Left church and didn't say nothing, even remotely close to those words, for quite some time. And seeing it was just like, wow, but then there was still some other areas that God was dealing with. He was working it out. Because what it happens is, see, we are so quick to be able to now put this burden, this yoke of approval on people. And I don't like when people call people hypocrites. Yeah. Who gives you the right to call somebody a hypocrite? You done got too intellectual. Yes. That just bothers me when somebody calls somebody a hypocrite. What I see is when somebody is in error, when somebody is in a backslidden state, when somebody has missed the mark, whether it's intentional or unintentional, I see them as being undone. But there's still yet some areas in their life where God is working on. Here's an example. If you're baking a cake, and the cake is rising, and then you pull it out and you think that it's done, and you realize you're poking in the center and it falls, and you realize now the edges are done, but the inside is undone. Is the cake a hypocrite cake? Is it? Is it a hypocrite? You're a hypocrite cake. I'm calling Betty Crocker. You ain't. It's still a cake. You see what I'm saying?
That's good.
I'm still a saint. Yeah. I'm still a child of God. I'm still a man of God. I'm still a daughter of God. I'm still a woman of God. I'm still on my way. Yeah. Don't count me out because it ain't over until God says it's over.
Amen.
I'm not worried about what you say.
Amen.
I'm worried about what He said. And when He stops giving me the breath of life, when He calls my number, then I'm going to worry about it. But in the meantime, you let me work out my own faith.
Amen.
Work out my own salvation with fear and trembling.
Yes.
Yes.
You trembling for me more than I'm trembling for me. Yes. This is my walk.
That's right.